When the matchmaker came to propose marriage, she said the eldest son of the Tsin family was talented and the second son was handsome. They made a perfect match for the two young ladies. The eldest son for the eldest daughter, the second son for the second daughter. With the older siblings looking after them, how could the younger one's lives be bad? In my previous life, it was exactly as the matchmaker said. I married the eldest son, and my sister married the second son. For many years, my husband and I cleaned up mess after mess left by our younger siblings until he died, saving the second son. I thought he would resent his younger brother and sister, but instead, he looked at my plain, unremarkable face and wept with regret. This life was not worth it. Don't I deserve a beautiful wife? He passed away with lingering regret. I was thunderstruck. So when he cleaned up those messes, he was doing it willingly, not only for his brother but also for my sister. In this second life, hearing the matchmaker speak those same words, I only said calmly, "Forget it. The eldest son is not handsome and the second son is not talented. Neither is a good match." The matchmaker was stunned. I stood up and left. My mother glared at me, signaling me to sit down, but when I didn't stop walking, she could only awkwardly make excuses. My eldest daughter is a bit willful, but my younger daughter is very well-behaved and considerate. What kind of men are those two sons of the Tsin family? The matchmaker exaggeratedly described the eldest and second sons of the Tsin family. The eldest son is extremely talented. At a young age, he manages the family's properties, several shops, and many shopkeepers take orders from him. He's incredibly impressive. The second son is famously handsome as Pan and liked by many girls, but he insists on finding someone who catches his eye and is beautiful. She probably intended to make me regret it, speaking loudly. Even though I was far away, her voice reached my ears. I chuckled softly, my thoughts unusually clear. What she said was all true, but also not entirely so. The eldest son of the Tsin family, Tsin Wenqing, indeed manages the family assets and is shrewd and capable. But he has never enjoyed a moment of happiness in his life. He is always worried about his younger brother and sister-in-law. The second son has been spoiled since childhood, raised to be arrogant. After marrying my sister, the two of them were a perfect match of like-minded souls. When things were good, they would row a boat on the lake or gallop through the green hills, having a great time. When things were bad, the second son would kick down a screen, and my sister would shred her clothes. One stayed out all night in the brothel without returning, while the other dared to squander 1,000 gold in a single day. Eventually, the shop's accounts couldn't cover expenses. The second son ran off to avoid the mess, and the sister returned to her parents' home in tears, complaining she had married the wrong man. My eldest brother and I dared not cry or make a fuss. Even if we cried, no one would pity us. If we made a fuss, we'd only get a scolding from our parents. The eldest brother is like a father, the eldest sister-in-law like a mother, and with our useless kindness, we were firmly tied down. Those were the hardest times. Tsin Wenqing said with reddened eyes, "If there's a next life, don't marry me again. It's been too hard, and I've never let you enjoy a single day of happiness." I thought back to why I married Tsin Wenqing. Probably because it was the eldest and second son who came for the matchmaking at the same time. Yet 9.5 out of every 10 sentences from Tsin's parents were about the second son. The second son had been clever since childhood. The second son had filial piety even as a child. Our second son is handsome. When we were kids, all the neighbors wanted him to be the one to press the bed at weddings, hoping to have a handsome son like him. Erlang. It was always Erlang. But Dalong was right there too. What harm would it have been to say a few good things about him? I looked up at Tsin Wenqing's face. His eyes were clearly red-rimmed, but he was holding his breath, afraid that if he breathed too heavily, tears would fall and he would get scolded again. At that time, I felt sorry for him. I thought we were very alike. Both of us were ordinary, well-behaved children. Average-looking, average-tempered, with some talent, but not enough to be favored. Our parents didn't dote on us, relatives and friends overlooked us, and we would sit alone in a corner for the whole day. Later, my parents said in a dismissive tone, "You and Dalong are quite a match." I could feel their contempt and disdain. I wanted to retort, "You mean I'm average-looking, so I don't deserve someone good-looking?" But then I thought of Dalong's face and swallowed the words. I couldn't say that. If Dalong heard it, he would think he was a compromise. He wasn't a compromise. He was the one I had chosen from the very beginning. Because I had a fairy-like sister, I became indifferent to beautiful people early on. I saw the ugly face she made when framing me, her domineering and unreasonable way of snatching things, and I hated even more how she always won and always looked so smug. Beauty is good, but character is better. I wanted to find someone with an exceptionally good character, so good that all beauty pales in comparison. With this mindset, I married Sin Wenqing. He was indeed good, intelligent, refined, and righteous. I was happy, and even happier that the world's riches are not distributed by appearance. Together, Sin Wenqing and I managed the shop his parents gave us, with great success. We dreamed of the future. 2 children, a son and a daughter. The son would marry, the daughter would bring in a son-in-law. The family property would be divided into 2 parts, each managing their own, able to help each other but never letting the elder help the younger or the daughter help the son. We were determined not to let them suffer, as we had. But my second brother and sister were like 2 sticks, shattering our beautiful dream. Later, my second brother offended some bandits and was kidnapped. Sin Wenqing took the money to ransom him, but both the money and the man were lost. On the brink of death, the only thing on his mind was still for me to take care of his younger brother, my younger sister. After I agreed, he seemed truly without worries, staring at my face as tears of regret streamed down. My life has truly been so worthless. Yes, so worthless. He never lived for himself a single day in his life. I pitied him, just as I pitied myself. He closed his eyes, tears flowing from the corners to his ears. The resentment in my heart poured out. Why were our parents so partial? Was I not worthy of marrying a beautiful woman? I was stunned, as if a bolt of lightning were racing through my mind, making me forget where I was or what time it was. It wasn't until Sin Wenqing was truly placed in the coffin and his younger brother Sin Jingyan knelt before me, slapping himself over and over, that I seemed to come back to life. A hoarse wail forced its way out of my throat, like a trapped beast struggling in its death throes. I pitied him for never winning his parents' favor, for being nothing but a workhorse, only to realize, in the end, that the most pitiable one was myself. In this life, I have truly been utterly alone, with no one to care for me. Tears streamed down my face, indignation, resentment, and bitterness, but there was no one to tell them to since he was dead. And there was an unspeakable shame. I felt as if I had been humiliated by the person closest to me. I fell gravely ill. I didn't go to the manor, the shop, or even step outside the door. Sin Jingyan knelt at my door, begging for forgiveness. He said he had wronged me and wronged his brother. He told me that if I had any anger, I should hit him or scold him, but not let it harm myself. He seemed genuinely repentant. This was something that Sin Wenqing and I had once sought but never obtained, and now, after his death, it suddenly came. I found it ironic. I opened the door, looked at him with tears in his eyes, and said coldly, "Get out." He stood there stunned, his bloodshot eyes filled with despair. He left, utterly dejected. Later, my sister-in-law came to see me. She demanded, "What do you really want? Do you have to tear this family apart to be happy? Big brother is dead. Do you want second brother to die too?" I slapped her hard. This sister of mine, I was never allowed to hit her. Back in my parents' home, if I hit her, my parents would hit me. In my husband's home, even less so. She had her in-laws and husband to protect her. As her elder sister and sister-in-law, I couldn't raise a hand against her. But that day, I did. With all the hatred I harbored. My gaze was icy as I spoke each word. "Yes, let him die. And you die too. You pair of troublemakers. Both of you go die." My sister covered her face, feeling the fear. It was probably the first time she felt the depth of my hatred. She said I was insane. Truth be told, I should have gone mad long ago. After that, the Sin family business plummeted. Wealth truly isn't distributed by looks. Handsome Erlang and my sister were indeed likable at first. But later, they became annoying, even less favored by customers than the put-upon little apprentices in the shop. Liking someone is truly a mysterious thing. Later, the maid Suanian rushed in to find me. She was so anxious, she was nearly in tears. "Madam, the master and mistress said that the second young master must serve as heir to both branches." I rushed into the front courtyard, and the younger sister was already making a scene. She was pounding on the second young master's chest in anger, crying like a miserable dog. What did you say when you married me? You said I would be the only one for your whole life. Now one isn't enough, and you want another, and of all people, it has to be my sister. You're tearing my heart out, Xin Jingyan. How can you be so shameless? Yes. How can they be so shameless? How can that entire family be so shameless? Sun Wenqing, he just died not long ago. How could they do this? But I don't want to haggle with them over this. It's meaningless. I want to make sure they never dare bring this up again for the rest of their lives. Most importantly, I don't believe that the honest and dull eldest young master could have offended anyone, and I don't believe that robbers who wanted money would suddenly change their minds and decide to kill after getting it. I walked in slowly, approached the dejected second young master, and said coldly, I haven't asked you yet. How did your brother die? A flicker of panic passed through the second young master's eyes, and he opened his mouth. The robbers wanted to cut me down with a knife, and my brother took the blow for me. I slapped him hard across the face. His head snapped to the side, a trickle of blood seeping from the corner of his mouth. You're still lying. Why did the bandits try to chop you? What did you do? Tell me. Tears fell from Erlang's eyes, one drop at a time. I couldn't bear to lose the money. He couldn't stand to lose that money, so he talked tough to the bandits. He even tried to grab the cash and run. The bandits got desperate and slashed at him. Dalong didn't think twice. He stepped in and took the blow. Dalong died, and Erlang lived. The one who shouldn't have died did, while the one who deserved to die walked away fine, even wanted to inherit both houses. What a joke. I slapped Erlang again, hard. Then again. My in-laws tried to pull me away, but I shook them off. My sister-in-law cowered in panic. The maids and servants held me tight. I struggled, my heart desolate, filled with bitterness and fury, tears streaming as I demanded answers. Are you even human? Your brother was gentle his whole life, never dared to argue with anyone. And you let him take that blade for you. He treated you like a brother, but did you treat him like one? He's barely gone, and you're already plotting against his wife. Are you human? Are you even human? I cried until I fainted, the hatred and pain in my heart endless, unable to find peace even in sleep. Erlang was punished to kneel in the ancestral hall. My in-laws never dared to mention the matter of concurrently serving both branches again. Even my sister, once arrogant and domineering, became as meek as a quail. They worked hard to run the shop, struggling to keep the family business afloat. But I had changed. I withdrew a large sum of silver from the public accounts. My in-laws asked what I wanted to do with it. I said coldly, build a grave. Doesn't Dalong deserve a beautiful wife? Doesn't he deserve a beautiful grave? My in-laws were speechless. Erlang said hoarsely, it's only right. We should build a beautiful grave for my brother. My sister was indignant, but Erlang held her back. After Dalong's death, our positions had shifted. I became the villain. They became the ones who dared to be angry, but not to speak. Just when they had finally managed to make up for the losses, I ran up debts outside again, spending a fortune in a single day. Debt collectors came knocking, and my second brother was forced to make up the silver. The accounts showed another huge loss. My in-laws asked me what I really wanted. I replied calmly, I donated it to the temple. Big Lang said his wounds ached day and night. I hired monks to perform rituals for 49 days. Father, mother, have you never dreamed of Big Lang? Actually, I didn't donate. I was just angry and unwilling, not wanting them to have it easy. My in-laws were horrified, saying it was a karmic curse, all a karmic curse. My second brother lowered his head, his shoulders slumped. Once he had been a spirited young man, dashing and unrestrained, living life to the fullest. But now, he and the people we once were, both seemed like dogs. My sister came to see me. She ground her teeth. Li Xiangji, that's enough. You planned this deliberately. However much we earn, you lend that much. Have you no shame?
Ha!
I sneered coldly. Sister, can't take it anymore? The life I'm living now is exactly what you and second brother once lived. You could live it, but I can't? Are you nobler than anyone? My sister's face turned pale. It's all in the past. You're still so vengeful. Whether it's past or not isn't for you to decide. You have no right. I stared at her. Her gaze was as piercing as the winter wind. My sister fled in panic, severing all ties with me. I don't have a sister like you, Li Xiangji. We are done with each other. I shot back unceremoniously. Don't worry, if one day you're captured by bandits, I definitely won't take a blade for you. I'll push you instead, so you die early and be reborn quickly. Outside the door, the corner of second young master's robe was visible. He heard it. He was devastated. My sister angrily pounded his chest. It's all your fault. All your fault. Second young master stood like a soulless puppet, letting her strike him. These two pairs of brothers and sisters, did not respect and love each other as our parents-in-law and parents had hoped. Instead, we became bitter enemies who hated each other to the bone. Truly pitiful. I stayed in the Tsin family for another 4 years. During these 4 years, I didn't manage the shop, and no one was kind to me. But I ate well, dressed well, and used good things, all charged to the Tsin family's account. If I wanted fine brocade, I got it. If I wanted the newest cosmetics, I bought them. I hired the best lady-in-waiting to come to the mansion every day to dress my hair and make me up. She praised me, saying there was a touch of quiet elegance between my brows and that I had an excellent temperament. I think she was just forcing compliments to make money. But looking at myself in the mirror, I couldn't help but shed tears. Dalong might be happy to see me like this now, but seeing him happy would certainly make me unhappy. We have never been pursuing the same thing from start to finish. We are not on the same path. It's just that I didn't know it when I was young. I carried a chivalrous spirit, thinking I was saving people from suffering. In fact, that person didn't need it at all. It was just my own self-righteousness. My sister-in-law was very angry. She scolded me for being a troublemaker, saying that even though my husband was dead, I still dressed up in gaudy clothes every day. She scolded me, saying if I didn't want to stay in the Tsin family, I should just go back home and remarry. Erling told her to shut up. He said that it was not easy being a young widow and asked Nani to be more considerate, or else she could go back home and remarry. They argued again and again, and later fought again and again. But I didn't feel that I had gone too far. They didn't feel sorry when they squandered the family property that Dalong and I had earned. I don't feel sorry spending theirs either. If they had been sensible from the start, Dalong and I could have lived a good life on our own. They were the ones who destroyed everything. There's no reason for them to decide when to start and when to stop. Who do they think they are? My heart became as hard as iron, unshakable, until my sister-in-law became pregnant. This child was truly hard one. They had been married for 8 years before finally having a child. My sister knelt before me, tears in her eyes. Sister, I know I was wrong. Please let me go. Eldest brother is gone, and Erling is half dead. Father and mother are also old. They were biased. But eldest brother was their own child too. Was there not a single shred of genuine feeling in their favoritism? I finally have a child, and I don't want him to grow up feeling like he's the child of a sinner. Sister, I was wrong. Please let me go. She kowtowed hard. I stared outside the door, but didn't see my father-in-law, mother-in-law, or Erling rushing in to accuse me. She looked up and saw my expression. Suddenly froze. Do you think I'm scheming? Shouldn't I think that? The things from childhood are truly hard to forget. She wept. It was my fault. Not giving her my things was my fault. Blaming me when she broke something was my fault. Even losing an argument with a friend was my fault. Every time, father and mother would step in to blame me on her behalf. I've gotten used to it. I have never trusted her. She stood up, looking lost, and stumbled out. At the door, she turned around, tears in her eyes, looking at me with a despair and distance. Sister, how did we sisters end up like this? I want to ask too. How did we come to this? Erling hurried over, and seeing her coming out of my courtyard, he couldn't help but lower his voice and snap. What are you coming to find your sister-in-law for again? Can't you stop causing trouble? The younger sister burst out. Why does it have to be me causing trouble? Why can't it be her? I know very well what kind of person sister-in-law is. As for you, you stir up trouble even when there's nothing. Back then, if you hadn't scorned that bandit's ugliness, how would I have offended him, and how would all those later things have happened? The younger sister let out a sob and slapped Erling hard across the face. You're not human. It was him staring at me, but now you blame me. Sister blames me, father and mother blame me, everyone blames me. I'd rather die. She ran away sobbing. This family is no longer like a family. At night, shadows flickered in the lamplight. I was sewing a small child's garment. Actually, before I knew what Daliang was thinking, he treated me very well. He said I was young, that pregnancy would be bad for my health, and that we should wait a few years before having children. Before he left, we agreed that when he returned, we'd split the family and have children. That departure led to no future at all. The world is like frost, warming the heart then chilling it again. But it's easier to cool down. Warming up again is much harder. I gave the little clothes to my sister. At that moment, she was sobbing, her eyes swollen red, with a bowl of abortifacient before her. She hesitated, unsure whether to drink it. I poured the medicine away. I was about to leave, never to see her again. My sister was startled. "Where are you going?" I didn't answer. In my childhood, I had been jealous of this sister. I had wept by the well, staring at my single-fold eyelids reflected in the well water, and my flat nose bridge, resenting that though we were born of the same parents, our appearances were so different. But later, I stopped envying her much. First, I got used to it. Second, my friends never disliked my ordinary looks, nor did they favor her just because she was very pretty. Instead, they would quietly whisper in my ear, "Why is your sister so hot-tempered? Why are your parents so biased? Don't be sad, you still have us." I thought, this must be what the teacher meant by losing at sunrise but gaining at sunset. If the sun won't shine on me, the moon will. And if neither sun nor moon shines on me, there are still the clouds, the stars, and at the very least, the dark clouds and the wind and rain won't shun me. Now, I no longer envy her at all. Between her and me, one of us wasn't pretty, the other was, yet neither of us lived a beautiful life. But I believe that truly living beautifully is what makes life beautiful. On Qingming Festival, I went to pay respects at Big Brother's grave. "Wenqing, I'm leaving now. I won't be visiting you often anymore. The words you spoke before you died truly hurt me. But I am a person of honor. You wronged me, but I cannot wrong you in return. I was married to you for 4 years, and for 4 years, I bore your temper. I stayed in your house for another 4 years, paying back all the anger we suffered in those first 4 years. If you have any awareness in the underworld, you should be appeased. Go and be reborn peacefully. From now on, I am going to live my own life. Our debts of gratitude and grudges are settled. If there is a next life, I will not marry you. May you have all your wishes fulfilled and all things go well in your next life." After paying my respects, I walked around the cemetery, thinking I wouldn't be able to come often anymore, so I should take a good last look at this place. Tombstones clustered. Many were grieving. Many were not. Coming and going in haste, who was truly sincere, known only to oneself. I suddenly felt that tomb sweeping day was actually a very good day. Choosing this one day for the past, the other days for the future. The past and future are both clearly arranged. That's really good. I walked around and came back, saw Erlang crying in front of Dalong's tombstone. He probably thought no one was around, crying without restraint. "Brother, I'm sorry. I wish I had died instead. Father and mother resent me. Sister-in-law resents me. Mingji also resents me. Living is worse than death. Brother, I didn't mean to be the heir to both branches. It's because father and mother said I owed you a son, so I agreed. I didn't scheme against sister-in-law. I'm not that kind of person. I'm not. Past events are like the wind. Past events should be like the wind, blowing everything away." Later, I took my dowry, betrothal gifts, and the compensation from Erlang and left the Tsin family. I was 24 when I left the Tsin family. I passed away at 84. Before death, I had no attachments, nor did I expect to be reborn back at 16. My later life was quite wonderful. I really couldn't understand why I was reborn. If I had to find a reason, I suppose it would be to make this life more complete. After the matchmaker left, my mother scolded me for being discourteous. Meeting my indifferent gaze, she became even more furious. But looking at the young mother before me, I felt nothing. In my previous life, after I left the Tsin family, I didn't go back to see her for many years. Eventually, she came to visit me with a cane, tears in her eyes, saying she regretted it. I just moved a stool for her to sit on, and then went about my own business. She sat obediently, like I did when I was a child, quietly staying the whole day. She was only in her 50s when she died. She didn't live as long as I did. So now I'm not afraid of her at all. Instead, I can sense her guilt and the toughness she's forcing. I said, "I'm not interested in either of them. I won't marry either." "Have you lost your mind?" You're not interested in either of them? If your younger sister weren't marrying the second son, do you think a fine gentleman like the first son would even look at you? My mother scolded angrily. I was so angry I laughed. So, I'm just a bonus? Then I won't marry at all. If they don't even fancy me, why should I marry into that? My mother was stunned. She probably thought I would cry, get angry, or argue. But I couldn't care less, which made her anxious instead. No, you have to marry him. If you don't, what about your little sister? I lifted my eyes and gave her a cold look. What do you mean, what about my sister? If you don't marry him, how can your sister live a good life? Who will look out for her? If Dalong marries a fierce wife, how could your sister survive under her thumb? Only if you two sisters marry together can I rest easy. Oh, so my sister is the bonus thrown in with me. Without me, she can't even have a good life. Worthless. My sister leaped out in outrage. Who's worthless? You. Mom, look at her. She's cursing me. She pulled the same old trick she used as a child. But she didn't realize she was facing the soul of an 84-year-old woman with ample battle experience. I slapped her across the face. So, what if I curse you? I'll hit you too. If you weren't worthless, why would Mom buy one get one free, insisting you be my extra? Without me, you couldn't even step foot through the Tsin family's door. She screamed. My mother screamed. My mother chased after me to hit me, so I chased after my sister. My mother couldn't catch me, but I could catch Li Mingji. Li Mingji got a thorough beating from me. Her pretty face was a mess from crying. She sobbed, Mother, don't chase us anymore. It hurts so much. My mother held her and cried, heartbroken, then went to find medicine for her. I ran to a friend's house and spent the afternoon doing needlework with her. No one came to find me, and I had long stopped expecting it. Living with my parents was already a memory from over 60 years ago. That faint bond had long been washed away in the river of time. Returning to my youth and having to call them father and mother again felt very strange to me. I slept soundly at my friend's house. The next day, I went to another friend's house. On the third day, I went to yet another friend's house. On the fourth day, my parents finally came to find me. When they did, they put on apologetic smiles in front of my friend's parents, feeling humiliated under their contemptuous and dismissive gazes. After we left, my mother secretly pinched my waist. I slapped Li Mingji in the face. Mother was stunned. Li Mingji froze. Sister, why are you hitting me? Mother, why are you pinching me? I looked at Mother, my gaze calm as a cold pond. Mother trembled with anger, unable to speak. Father shouted, What are you all making a fuss about? Haven't you embarrassed us enough? After returning, I was grounded. Li Mingji could go out, so I ruined 4 trunks full of her clothes. When Li Mingji returned, she forgot to show off the hairpin in her hand. She screamed and hugged her clothes, crying. This time, she finally showed a bit of spirit. She picked up a hairpin and stabbed at me. Li Xiangji, I'll fight you. Why do you have the right to destroy my things?
Why?
I kicked her in the stomach, knocking her to the ground. Because you have what I don't. Because Mother and Father treat us unfairly. Because you're getting married, but you want me to marry into that family too, to shield you from the wind and rain. Because you can't stand on your own. You're useless. My voice was filled with resentment, loud enough for everyone to hear. Mother stood outside the door, tears in her eyes, stunned and frightened. She had never realized that her eldest daughter, whom she always thought insignificant, held such deep resentment toward them. The resentment startled her, and I finally understood what could traverse the long river of time.
Hate. Love.
They do not vanish because I live well or poorly. They have always existed. Father and Mother finally realized that I could not marry the eldest and second sons of the Tsin family alongside my sister. They began to reevaluate this match for my sister. The eldest son had talent. The second son had good looks. Talent and looks were truly a dilemma. Why couldn't they be combined in one person? After weighing the options for a long time, they finally bowed to reality, letting my sister choose the eldest son. Appearance was not the most important thing. Marrying a man is for clothing and food. Living well is what truly matters. But my sister had already met the second son, accepted his hairpin, and had developed feelings for him. She didn't want to. I am willing to eat chaff and swallow wild vegetables with a second son. You simply don't understand what love is. She ran out crying. Her parents were at a loss. When they saw me, their heads only ached more. They no longer confined me to the house, they couldn't anyway. I would climb through windows, scale walls, and shimmy up trees. In this life, I was anything but well-behaved. I pooled together some money with a few of my girlfriends and set up a shop. It had 2 floors, the upper floor for living, the lower for business. Every day at dawn, I would wait at the river pier. I asked the boatman if a young master named Song Hyun-lin was aboard any of their boats. As time went on, the boatmen got to know me well. Whenever they saw me coming, they'd laugh and say, "Here to inquire after young Master Song again?" "Not today," they'd say. "Why do you keep asking about him?" I would smile shyly. Of course, I needed to remind him to keep a tight hold on his wallet once he disembarked, so no thief could swipe it. In my previous life, after leaving the Tsin household, I had met Song Hyun-lin. He had also opened a shop on this street. When I opened mine, he gave me a lot of help. He was very handsome, but that didn't make me feel much fonder of him. We interacted just like neighbors. Yet he developed feelings for me. He helped me, gave me gifts, shyly expressed his affection. When I saw through him and rejected him, he froze, his eyes turning red as he asked me why. "Is it my looks or character that you don't like? Or are you still thinking about your late husband?" "Neither." "Then is it because I'm an outsider, my parents dead, with no one to support me?" Later I found out. He wasn't a local either. He had left home many years ago to do business here. The moment he got off the boat, a thief stole his wallet, forcing him to drift here for several years. By day he worked as an apprentice, by night he did small trades. After finally scraping together enough money to return home, he discovered his father had gone missing searching for him and met with misfortune. His mother, having lost both husband and son, wept until she went blind. Their vast family estate was carved up by relatives. He brought his mother to this place, far from home, and later saw her through to her death, leaving him utterly alone in the world. Matchmakers had come to propose matches, and some young women had secretly shown him affection. He never knew what kind of wife he wanted. Until he saw me. It was love at first sight. He thought, "This girl's eyes are too beautiful." He said my eyes were long, narrow, and clear, beautiful like a phoenix. I was young then, and didn't think he was right. I had seen phoenix paintings. All phoenixes have double eyelids. As I grew older, I gradually came to understand. He probably meant the power shining through my eyes, a solitary courage of rising from the ashes. The world could despise me, belittle me, but I would never agree with their words. I had my own path to walk, and I knew what kind of path it was. In the end, we still matched our birth charts, got married, and lived together for many years. We had our disagreements and arguments, but we never stopped loving each other. On his deathbed, he said the greatest blessing in his life was meeting me, loving me deeply all our days. His only regret was that his parents had passed too early to see him settle down, start a career, marry, and have children. His eyes glistened with tears, regret, attachment, reluctance. He said, "I'll wait for you on Naiha Bridge, and when you come, we'll drink Mingpa's soup together. Don't come too soon. 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, no matter what, I'll wait for you. Don't rush, take your time." I wanted to cry, but also to laugh. 30 years? Then I'd live to become an old monster. How could I let him wait that long? He reached out to wipe my tears, but his hand fell heavily halfway. I held his hand, feeling his fingers gradually losing their warmth in my palm. He was gone, and I became a lonely old woman. Although I had children and grandchildren around me, I knew that the one who matched my soul in this world was only him. Life is lonely. The world is frosty. His death chilled my heart. But whenever I think of him, my chest warms slightly. Love is like fire, burning away the years. In this second life, I hope we can both find fulfillment, with no regrets from our youth. That day, I went to ask around as usual. Before the boatman could speak, a young man jumped off the boat and said with a smile, "Sister, are you looking for me?" "What is it?" Young Song Hyun-lin stood before me, full of vitality, with pure eyes, innocent of the world's ways. So this was what he was like as a youth. It was obvious he was easily fooled. How could his parents bear to let such a young gentleman out? Before I could answer, the boatman had already laughed. "So, you're Song Hyun-lin. This girl has been asking about you for days. If you didn't come, she would be anxious to tears." "Ha ha ha. Everyone laughed heartily. I blushed slightly. Song Hunlin's eyes sparkled. Sister, do you know me? I don't, but we can get to know each other slowly. I said, someone from your family asked me to look after you here. I'll get you settled, and you take care of your own belongings. There are many thieves here. Don't lose your things.
Thank you, sister.
What's your name? He walked to my side and walked alongside me. I smiled. My name is Li Xiangji, the Xiang of Xiang River, the Ji of classical particles. This time, Song Hunlin didn't lose his wallet. I settled him in a decent inn, not far from my shop. I took him to the bank to deposit his money, told him where to get good food, where the market was, which shopkeepers were trustworthy, and which were unscrupulous. These were the pitfalls we had encountered in our previous life, easily avoided in this one. He completed his investigation here in the shortest time, the speed leaving him somewhat dazed. After he finished his work, I urged him to hurry back and inform his parents so the elders wouldn't worry. He invited me to dinner and, blushing, asked if I was betrothed. I said no. He was visibly delighted, bouncing with pride. Elder sister, what do you think of me? He sat up straight, gently pushed aside the messy hair on his forehead, revealing a smooth brow. With handsome brows and eyes, after fixing his hair, he placed his hands on the table as properly as a good student, waiting for my judgment. I couldn't help but laugh. He was adorable. Young him, old him, both were adorable. I asked, what do you mean? He stammered, telling me about his family background, his parents, his character, his affections. The moment I saw you, I felt joy. I thought, if you don't mind, I'll go back and tell my parents to come propose to your family. But your family is in another place. I can move. What about your parents then? We can move together. We were already planning to come here for business. He spoke urgently, and I laughed out loud. You're too young. Go back and discuss it carefully with your parents. He was a bit disappointed, like a dejected puppy, but soon perked up again. Hey, how often does it work on the first try? As long as sister hasn't said she won't see me, then I still have a chance. He wasn't discouraged. He was still young, full of confidence, always feeling that life was full of opportunities. He didn't know about his previous life. In truth, he had been miserable for several years, nearly losing his spirit. I turned my face away and said nothing, but I couldn't suppress the smile on my lips. When seeing him off, I cautioned, next time, don't shake off your servants and go out alone. I know you want to test yourself, but to your family, your safety is what matters most. Don't do anything that will make you regret it. He was stunned for a moment, a hint of surprise in his eyes. Sister, how did you know I secretly shook off the servants? He was swept along by the crowd onto the boat. I watched him rush to the deck as soon as he boarded to look back at me. Sister, I waved. Goodbye, Song Hunlin. I don't know if I'll be with you in this life, but seeing you again, safe and sound, makes me very happy. I wish you a life without regrets, and that your parents are well. If we can continue our past connection, that's good. If not, that's fine too. As long as you are well, I am happy. This is a very meaningful thing in my rebirth. After Song Hunlin left, the young ladies felt sorry for me. Such a fine young man, they thought I would be moved. My heart was indeed moved. But that's nothing, my heart always flutters around. I only feel that one more regret inside me has been reduced, and that's enough. I do like Song Hunlin a lot, but this life Song Hunlin has no obligation to like me. He is still young, perhaps he has other choices, who knows. Moreover, a 20-something Song Hunlin meeting a 20-something Li Xiangji might have a good ending. It doesn't necessarily mean that 15 or 16-year-old Song Hunlin and Li Xiangji meeting will definitely have a good ending. I'll take it step by step, slowly, without rush. Life is so long. One day, an uninvited guest came to my shop, Zhen Wenqing. I haven't seen him for a very long time. In my previous life, he died early. In this life, I didn't discuss marriage with him, and I had a falling out with my parents, so I often stayed in the shop, and I never saw him. He appeared suddenly and startled me. Blushing, he mustered his courage to ask me, Miss Li, I apologize for the intrusion. I want to be clear. Do you refuse to consider marrying me because of my appearance? I looked at him in this life, and there was little rippling in my heart. The grievances between us had been settled in the previous life. When I left the Zhen family, I had vented my anger and taken the money. I no longer held resentment. In the decades that followed, I had been too happy to ever think much of him. I hadn't visited his grave for decades. In my long life, he had existed for only 4 short years. I even felt a hint of pity for him. His whole life, he had compromised and endured, never truly obtaining what he wanted. Even this time, coming to ask me, there was a subtle air of self-pity and inferiority. I said calmly, "Would you like the truth or a lie?" "The truth, of course." "Then answer me this first. Did you come on your own accord, or were you sent by your parents?" He opened his mouth, hesitated, and fell silent. I smiled, unbothered. "That's your answer. You didn't come willingly. Someone else told you to come, and you had no choice. You must have an answer to fob off your parents. You ask if I dislike your looks. If I say no, you might not believe me. If I say yes, you'd be hurt. After all, the one who dislikes your appearance the most is yourself. To me, appearance isn't important. I've seen the ugliest side of beautiful people and the most beautiful side of ugly people. I value a person's character more. You think your looks are bad. Actually, I think your looks are passable. It's your inner self that's mediocre. You obviously like pretty girls, but you don't dare to pursue them. If that counts as self-awareness, then the fact that you clearly don't like me but hope I'll say I dislike you so you can explain to your family, that's rather despicable. This shows you have no courage at all. You don't have the guts to fight for what you like with your parents, nor the guts to face your own heart. Whoever marries you in the future will surely suffer a lot. But it doesn't matter. Say whatever you want to your parents. Say I dislike your looks, or that I don't like you, whatever. To me, you're just a stranger. Sun Wenqing was dumbfounded. I picked up the feather duster and continued dusting. He opened his mouth as if to say something, but I had already walked away. He bowed to me and scurried off in panic. When he reached a distance, he stopped again, a look of confusion in his eyes. Later, when I returned home, I found that both the eldest and second sons were hovering around my sister, both becoming her suitors. The eldest son was talented and could always give my sister gifts that touched her heart. The second son was romantic and took her to play at things she loved. My sister wanted to show off, but recalling how I had cut up her 4 chests of clothes, she shut her mouth. "Sister, if it were you, who would you choose?" I flipped through my book, too lazy to look up, and said casually, "Neither. Neither is good enough." "You're lying. You're just jealous of me."
Ugh.
"Whatever, you pretty little fool." For the last time, I patiently told her. The eldest son has an inferiority complex inside, but is very capable. If you love him, he'll be your dog for life. But you're flighty and indecisive at heart. Given time, you'll definitely grow to hate his looks and end up cheating on him. The two of you won't last. Erlang is just as frivolous as you are, spoiled by his parents, indulged until he doesn't know his place. Both of you are troublemakers. Together, you're like 2 seasoned old demons, able to tear a perfectly good family apart. Unless you both go through something life and death and settle down, only then might you have a chance to live peacefully. Otherwise, you two will definitely have small fights every 3 days and big quarrels every 5, and you'll drive yourselves to ruin. My sister was furious, her face red. "How dare you say that about me? You just can't stand to see me happy." I slammed my palm heavily on the table and said coldly, "What are you yelling about? Watch out, or I'll slap you across the face. If you don't want to hear the truth, don't ask. If you ask, ask sincerely, don't just want to hear what pleases you. If all you want is to hear what you like, who do you think you are? Did you pay me?" My sister fell silent. She was aggrieved, her eyes reddening, angry but afraid to speak. I walked over to her and raised my hand. She covered her face and quickly dodged. I was amused despite my anger, so I touched her face, gave her a gentle hug, and let out a long sigh. When she was first born, I really liked her. She was only a year younger than me. We were playmates for each other. But later, she blossomed like a flower, while I grew up looking like a bitter gourd. Our mother's favoritism drove us apart. But I truly did love this sister once. In my previous life, after I left the Tsin family, she and second brother managed poorly, and one by one, their shops closed down, making their life very difficult. They had a son and a daughter, but the siblings often quarreled. She aged day by day, her beauty no longer her pride, and second brother grew tired of her too. Once, perhaps because she really needed someone to talk to, she came to my shop to find me, saying that she and second brother hadn't slept in the same bed for over a decade. Attraction, both in looks and body, faded day by day. Their souls were also far apart. They loathed each other but were bound by the roles of father and mother to their children, forced to stay together. When she left, she looked enviously at Song Hunglin and me working harmoniously, and at my children playing together affectionately. She said to me in a very soft voice, "Sister, I'm sorry." She didn't specify what she was sorry for. Later, her daughter got married, resenting her for treating her poorly, and her son also married, scornful of her poor management that had drained the family fortune. She died even earlier than our parents. When I received the news, I was stunned for a long time, and I shed tears for her. This younger sister, I truly liked her. I really did. In this second life, those words I said were also sincere. If she could take it to heart, that was good. If she didn't, I'm not a feng shui master. I don't have the power to defy fate. On this trip back, I took away many things.
She was a bit panicked.
Sister, you're not coming back? I'll come back when you get married. I carried my luggage on my back and left. She chased to the doorway, holding the doorframe, and called out, "Sister, don't go. From now on, I'll never fight with you again." She bit her lip, clearly unwilling, yet she said it sincerely. She would probably go ahead and do it awkwardly. She was changing. I patted her head. "Did it hurt when I hit you before?" Her eyes reddened slightly, and she nodded. I said, "Then from now on, you must improve yourself." There was so much more I wanted to say. I wanted to tell her that in this world, you can only rely on yourself. If you can't stand on your own, it doesn't matter who you marry or how many times you marry. But I couldn't bring myself to say it. At 15, she wouldn't have liked hearing it, and she wouldn't have been able to take it in. Some things you only understand after experiencing them. Some fruits only ripen when the season is right. There's nothing you can do about that. Later on, I ran my own shop seriously. My parents hadn't believed in me at first, but after seeing how well I managed the business, they actually discussed keeping me at home and marrying in a son-in-law to carry on the family line. My younger sister's eyes turned red with jealousy. Why should I have to marry out while she couldn't bring in a husband? She changed her mind about marrying and pestered our parents for a shop of her own to run. Not long after, the shop started going downhill. That's when De Lang stepped in to help her manage it. Seeing this, Lang got furious, sneered, and went to a brothel, only to come back the next day to apologize to our sister, saying he had been foolish. The younger sister was torn and bewildered. One day a few months later, as she was working on the abacus, the accounts just wouldn't balance. De Lang came to help her, but she found his words annoying and impatiently sent him away. Lang came, found her work boring, and asked her to go play with him. Overwhelmed, a deep sense of helplessness surged within her. Meanwhile, outside, people were bustling about, and clouds drifted across the sky. She suddenly felt that she didn't like either of them. Whenever she thought about having nothing to say with De Lang, or not being able to survive with Lang, she grew irritated. She came to my shop for tea and told me calmly, "Sister, now I understand why Mom and Dad wanted you to take in a son-in-law. I'm really not as capable as you. But that day I figured out the accounts myself. It was a mistake in one entry, and I found the error on my own. I've made up my mind. I won't marry either De Lang or Lang. It's not like there are only those two men in this world. I'm still young, and you haven't married yet, so why should I rush? I'll wait for you to get married, and see what kind of godlike man you can bring in as a son-in-law." She rolled her eyes in defiance and left me a pack of candy before she left. It was her favorite kind. I tried one, it was pretty good, so I shared them with the sisters. Later, Song Hunlin came, along with his parents. He appeared at the entrance of my shop, travel-worn, his voice arriving before he did. "Sister, I'm back. My parents are here too." I looked up and saw him with sparkling eyes, and behind him, a sprightly old couple. They settled down here and opened a shop. Song Hunlin hovered around me, sweet with both words and actions. He worked hard, used his wits, and spent money generously. Everyone thought he treated me well. I guess I hadn't shaken off my past life habits, because I didn't find it particularly special at all. It felt perfectly ordinary. Until one day, my hand unconsciously patted his butt, and I praised him. "Wow, nice and firm." Song Hunlin froze instantly. My girlfriends also froze, then blushed and ran away. In the vast shop, only he and I remained. He whispered, "Sister, does this mean I can propose?" I looked at my guilty hands and sighed softly. What do you like about me? He smiled. The first time I came here, on the boat, I thought that the first woman I met would be the one I love. But I met one woman after another on the boat, and in my heart I thought, not this one, not that one either. By the end, even I had to laugh. I had set a rule for myself, only to break it again and again, as if it were a game. Later, I gave up on that game. But when I saw you, I suddenly felt, this is the one, this is my destined love. Turns out, when you like someone, you make excuses for yourself. She wasn't the first I saw, but she was definitely the one who caught my heart at first sight. If I had to name something specific I like, it's your eyes, like a phoenix, incredibly beautiful, breathtakingly stunning. These were the words he said in my past life. I finally fully believe that this was his purest thought. 17-year-old Song Hunlin and 20-something Song Hunlin both loved my eyes the same way. Both fell for me at first sight. We had our birth charts matched and prepared to marry. My parents were very unhappy. They felt they had already compromised by allowing me to become the head of the family and take in a son-in-law, yet I still wanted to marry out. They tried to persuade Song Hunlin to marry into our family. When they looked down on me, they thought even my marrying out was an overreach. Now that they respect me, they still expect me to obey them in everything. But I repeated myself, it's not up to them to start and stop as they please, or to dictate what I should do. In my previous life, I lived a long time, loved, hated, clung to things, let them go, lived, and died. I no longer care about their opinions. In the river of time, their figures have grown blurry, so blurry that I can completely break free from their influence. I said coldly, I am definitely marrying this man. If you disagree, you can skip the wedding banquet. I'll consider myself an orphan. You're rebelling, my parents roared. I continued, you can let my sister take in a son-in-law. I can see she's quite willing. Father and mother said angrily, don't you know what your sister is capable of? What kind of household can she manage? When the sister heard this, she stood at the doorway, her eyes brimming with tears, but for the first time, she didn't cry out, just stood there quietly watching. Struggling to hold back her tears, her parents grew a bit flustered. My sister turned and walked away, not running in tears, but leaving in silence. I let out a long sigh. That's it. Give the family estate to whomever you want. Whatever you give me, I'll support you accordingly in your old age. If you give nothing, that's fine too, just don't come to me. If you push me too far, swallowing up what little there is won't be too hard for me. Father and mother were angry, but dared not speak. They felt my indifference and realized I meant what I said. Suddenly they softened and immediately discussed the wedding date with the Song family. Parents and children sometimes are really like a seesaw, one goes up as the other comes down. It's hard for me to articulate this emotion. A little more love at times, a little more hate at others, genuine one moment, calculating the next. Sometimes resentment gathers, sometimes I wish to let it be. There is no scale in the world that can weigh these emotions clearly, so I just let things be. Later, I married Song Hunlin smoothly, and my parents gave me half of the family property. Whether it was their calculated decision or a last resort, I took what I received as genuine and stopped worrying about the hearts behind it. Water that is too clear has no fish. A person who is too strict has no followers. I have learned to let myself off. Song's parents settled here. They were envied and ostracized by their clan back home, and moving here was a relief for them. Even more delightful was seeing their son start a family and career with great drive. Song Hunlin and I got along well. My sister sometimes envied us. She often came to help at the shop, quietly observing how Song Hunlin and I interacted. Later, second young master came looking for her. She told him, don't come again. What good man would visit a brothel? But I was just going through the motions, deliberately trying to make you angry, second young master said, a bit flustered. The younger sister said, but my brother-in-law never visits brothels, and neither does my father, nor your brother. When my brother-in-law gets angry, he would never deliberately do something wrong to spite my sister. He simply can't bear to make her angry. Before we've even become serious, you've already made me angry and don't know how to cherish me. If I married you, how terrible would that be? Besides, I intend to bring in a son-in-law.
Can you be that?
Sin Erlang cannot. He values face too much. How could he ever become a son-in-law? This time, they cut ties completely. Even after Qin Dalong and Qin Erlang both married other women, the younger sister still showed no intention of marrying. Her parents finally accepted that she was not going to marry and was determined to bring in a son-in-law. Only then did they begin to seriously cultivate her, no longer treating her as a beautiful daughter to be married off, but as a daughter who would inherit the family business and uphold the household. And the younger sister finally calmed down, working hard to shed her frivolity, overcome pride and impatience, become a good student, and earnestly listen to her parents' guidance. A meeting between a talent scout and a swift horse requires the right timing. A bull cannot come too early, nor a steed too late. Only when they meet at the right time can a beautiful story be born. Time flew, and 4 years passed in a blink. One day, I was doing accounts in my shop when Qin Dalong suddenly rushed to my door. This was the second time I had seen him since my rebirth. By then, he had already married. He was drenched in sweat and panicked, but froze at the sight of me. I was clicking the abacus, and my little daughter beside me stood on tiptoe, her soft fingers struggling to touch it. When Song Hunglin held her fingers, she giggled. My belly was slightly swollen, with a little baby growing slowly inside. I looked up at him and clearly saw the relief of surviving a disaster on his face. He opened his mouth. Xiangji. I suddenly understood. You've come back. He nodded, then burst into tears. But I watched him quietly, feeling only calm. I was reborn to make up for regrets. But unfortunately, he wasn't among my regrets. Sun Wenqing didn't know where to start. On that day in his past life, it was the day he took a knife for Erlang. In this life, Erlang had once again offended some bandits. He went to ransom him, awakened his memories, and at the critical moment of life and death, he did not take the knife for Erlang. Erlang was injured. He brought Erlang back, settled him in, and then hurriedly went to find Li Xiangji. When he arrived, he had a lot to say, but once there, he didn't know where to begin. Xiangji, I saw everything. He wanted to say that his soul had not scattered after death. He had seen what she had done for him and knew he had broken her heart. In fact, he regretted it as soon as he said it. All his life, he had been afraid of making a mistake, but in the end, he made the biggest mistake of his life. He also wanted to say that he had waited for her on the bridge of helplessness for 60 years. He wanted to say that he was willing to have a next life with her and the next 10 lives, 10 lifetimes, life after life, all willing. But he had come too late. She already had a loved one by her side, and in the future, she would have children and grandchildren. Only then did he understand a truth. A woman like her could live well with anyone. She had strength of character, resilience. She never needed him. He needed her. But he had come too late. In the end, his lips trembled, as if he wanted to speak but held back. It was a remorse accumulated across lifetimes, past and present, hitting him so hard that he felt at a loss. He regretted being reborn. If he hadn't known, he wouldn't have felt so miserable. He regretted being reborn too late, having to watch helplessly as he missed his chance. And even more, he regretted being blind. No matter how old Sun Wenqing was when she met Li Xiangji, she could never hold on to him. He said, I'm sorry. Li Xiangji nodded calmly and said, May you be happy. He wept. Would he be happy? Yes. In this life, he would love his wife well, hold on to happiness tightly. Just like Li Xiangji, who could make life good no matter who she was with. May you be happy.